Hey guys and gals, this is Alex with Legendary Apartment Brokers here in Kansas City. Today is Monday, May 12th, 2025. Let's get right into it. This is the KC Multifamily Minute. Like we do every week, we talk about all the new properties coming on the market for your 1031 exchange, or if you're an active real estate investor, how do things look? How many new properties do we have, and what's available out there to buy? I've covered every single one of these now. I've gone through it, haven't missed any of them. If you've been following me over the last year plus, you guys know that every single time a new property hits the open market, I at least give you my 2-second opinion on it, whether it's good or bad, or maybe how it fits in, most importantly for your 1031 exchange or an active investor. If you're just a regular investor that's casually out there investing, you're not really actually looking to buy. You're looking for something to fall in your lap, which is totally fine. I get it. That's kind of the way I am a lot of times. But I'm after the actually active looking investors or the 1031 exchange guys and gals. They want to buy something to make the pencil sharpen, make it work. So here, let's talk about statistics. So out there on LoopNet, CoStar LoopNet, how many out there? So there's 41 out there. 37 of those are available for under contract. That's consistent over the last couple weeks. Good opportunities out there to buy. A lot of those are larger. Well, some of those are larger properties, meaning 2 million plus. But also a lot of the smaller ones are on there too. They're on the MLS. So there's a lot of overlap here. Speaking of the MLS, we've got 69 total listings out there that are $500,000 and above that are built before 2020. We're just going to call it 70. I haven't seen that. I can't remember ever. That's a lot of opportunities. 56 of those are available, which means there's only 13 under contract right now, which means you have a lot of opportunity to go out there, sift through what you want. You can actually use my website, legendaryapartmentbrokers.com, to do that for you, to search by town, to search by location, zip code, whatever the case may be. $500,000 your minimum, $600,000. You can mess around with those filters and find really what's out there that might be a fit for what you're actively needing or wanting here in the open market. And part of the reason why there's 69 total here on the MLS and 41 over on LoopNet is because there's 13 new ones that have hit the open market here in the last 7 days. 13 new ones. You heard that correctly. Now, full disclosure, one of those is mine, and also full disclosure on the 71 or 70 plus that are out there. I do have 6 to 7 to 8 myself, which is abnormal, but I'm putting listings out there because I've got good sellers that want to sell good product. I consider myself a no BS broker. I definitely do listings for no BS clients. Want to go out there, get a good price, be a fair investor, be a fair seller, not out there fishing around. So with all that being said, let's get into what we've got for the new ones here. I've got the MLS pulled up, and this is all the new listings that they're showing that's happened in the last 7 days. So let's just go through here on the right-hand column for podcast listeners. Got my website pulled up, filtered this down for the last 7 days, $500,000 plus, 2020 or older. First up is a fourplex in Pleasant Hill for $600,000. That's $150,000 per unit. They do look like they're large units. Pleasant Hill is a Class B, B minus neighborhood only because of where it's located in the metro. It's on the far outskirts of that. Like I said, probably large units here. I've seen them recently sell for maybe somewhere around that 550 range, 450 range. So on the surface, maybe a little high price, but if you own in Pleasant Hill, you love Pleasant Hill, living one side around the other, could be a good opportunity for you, okay? As far as where exactly that's located in Pleasant Hill, I'm going to zoom in there. It's on the left side. It's on west of 7 Highway. So it's in a good spot, nice quiet neighborhood. Again, Class B minus location because of the town it's in. Compared to the rest of the metro. 1031 exchange, like I said, if you want to live in one unit, rent out the other, probably not a 1031 exchange type of investor, but could be an opportunity for you to pick up another fourplex that is large, low, no maintenance to those types of things. Okay, getting the bearings straight here, getting back centered. Next up, very briefly here, I'm not even going to talk about this. It's in the historic Northeast. It is a property on 113 North Askew Avenue. I'm going to skip that. I don't do much business up in the historic Northeast unless I know the property seller or owner or buyer very well. Don't say I love or hate the area. It's just not an area I do a bunch of business in. A lot of those are Class D markets. They all have their place, but it's just not for me. Okay? Next up is a property in Leavenworth, Kansas. Not going to spend a ton of time on this either because it's listed for $2 million. It is, let me see here. It's got a new drawing. So it's, So this is basically a build to rent type of property or a redo. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. We've got some other opportunities to look at, but if you like that kind of stuff up there in Leavenworth, could be interesting. It's nearly $2 million for, let's see here, 18 units with some renovations. They've got architectural drawings, but again, it's a little bit too complicated for my taste. But if you want to dive into it, happy to do that. I do like, complicated projects, so we could talk about it, just not something to talk about on the podcast here. All right. Another opportunity. Again, another place I don't do a ton of business on, 27th and Benton Avenue, Benton Boulevard. Zooming in here for YouTube viewers, podcast listeners. I'm east of 71. There's actually two. We'll cover these both at the same time. East of 71, south of I-70, class C- areas here. We've got a couple different colonnade style sixplexes for $600,000 and $545,000. Again, don't do a ton of business in this area. 1031 exchange. Know that you're getting a C- location. Rent growth is going to be less here. You're going to have higher turnover, just higher overall operational costs. That's why I don't do a ton of business in that area. Okay, so let's move on and see what else we've got going on here. Get our bearings here again. Sorry about that. Okay, another one is, I'm very intimately familiar with this one. I'm going to zoom in here. This is in Independence. It's 5 houses for $539,000. Don't need to look at every single piece on the map, but these are 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom houses. There's a 1-bedroom in there. These are all houses, standalone houses across Independence. They've all been redone to one degree or another, all rented, fully occupied, pretty much set and forget. Come in there, either new management, take it over yourself. I contend you can manage this yourself. Houses are relatively easy to manage, even from a distance. So anyway, something to take a look at if you want. Like, let's say you're looking for 4, 5, 6, 8 units. $539,000 for 5 houses is a pretty dang good deal, in my opinion. Of course, I have all the details of it. I've got a lot of HVAC information, all that kind of stuff. Reach out. We can talk about that. Again, 5 houses. One of the addresses is 1414 South Logan Avenue in Independence, Missouri. Love to get that sold. Great group of guys that I'm helping get that sold for. Okay. All right. So getting bearings again. There's a lot to go through here. So that's really it. Everything on the MLS anyway. Remember, we've got 13 new ones. I covered 6 or 7 new ones out here already. A lot of activity. I've already given you some good ones to look at for 1031 exchange. I did want to talk about that Independence 5 house. They've got a 1031 exchange. You've got 30% you want to put down on 5 houses. 30% of 539. Let me just show you how little it takes. 539,000 for 161,000. I bet less. You can buy 5 houses in Independence that are cash flowing, 100% occupied, with not a whole ton of work to do there. Okay. All right. Now let's hop on over to LoopNet. We've got a whole bunch of other opportunities to talk about. One of them is, for podcast listeners, I'm zooming into here to 34th and Holmes, which is basically Armour and Holmes. Armour and Holmes. I actually toured this property. It's a great property, 100% fully renovated. I think it's fully occupied now. $2.5 million is the asking price. 24 units for 2.5, 12 studios, 12 one-bedrooms. Excuse me, doing the math on that is 2.5. I think it's $108,000 per unit in Midtown, fully renovated. The downside to this is that there is no parking here. It's all street parking, which wasn't bad. The several times I've been there touring, it's not bad. If you want to reach out to me, I've got all the details on that. I can help you buy that if you'd like. Midtown, if you got 1031 exchange, somewhere around $2.5 million to spend, let's talk. We can find this property here for you, get you in there, get you into something that is, at least from a production standpoint, is turnkey. And you can just go in there and buy it and move on and own a really nice property on a gorgeous boulevard in on Armour Boulevard. If you're familiar with that, up and down Mac Properties is a great spot. 1031 exchange, great for you. It's a Class A location. It is urban core. You're going to have higher turnover there, but it is a Class A location in the urban core. Kansas City, Missouri. Love to talk to you more about that one. Okay? All right, zooming back out here. There is a fourplex in Lee Summit. For podcast listeners, zooming in here to Lee Summit, east of 291 on Ball Drive. A lot of people are familiar with Lee Summit, know this little area. There's tons of fourplexes, duplexes out here. Occasionally they pop up to sell on market. This is a fourplex. They do not have garages. Fourplex for $500,000. It's $125,000 per door. That's the going rate. I anticipate that will sell quickly. Reach out if you want to talk about that one, and we can see how that might fit into your investment criteria. Again, 1031 exchange, you got $500,000. Could be a great little opportunity for you. And we can see how that would work. That's a Class A location over there in Lee Summit. It's a little bit, it's not the world's greatest, oh my gosh, amazing Class A plus location, but it is a Class A location, great school district, quiet suburban location. You will do well there with both rent growth and with appreciation, and should be relatively low turnover if you do the units correctly on the interiors. Just looking to see if we got any photos here for my YouTube viewers. Of course, got all the exterior stuff, off-street parking. I'm not seeing any interior photos, but good opportunity to at least reach out and talk about, okay? All right, zooming in here. Let's see here. So we covered that. We got a portfolio here on Linwood. I've actually had this listed before in the past for $1.9 million or so. It's 26 units, east of 71. Again, I don't do a ton of business over here, so I'm not going to talk a ton about it. And then we got another one, which I think we already talked about, another property that's east of 71, again, and south of 70. I don't do a ton of business there either. It's all that kind of same historic Northeast kind of vibe. Just not a place where a lot of 1031 exchange clients should really get into unless you want to roll up your sleeves and really do a lot of work and help with bringing up the area. All right, so that brings us out here to a property called the Valley Apartments in Platte City. Platte City is basically where the airport is. There's a $2 billion airport put in place up there. A lot of jobs were created. It's a great growing submarket of Kansas City, quote unquote, north of the river, people. Great spot. It is 20 units for $1.59 million. I already did the math on it, but let's see here. It's basically $79,000, $80,000 a door. Good little spot up there. Class B plus location. Love to talk to you more about it. They are probably small units just based on what I'm seeing here on the floor plan, but interesting to take a look at in this type of suburb. You've got a 1031 exchange somewhere around that $1.5, $2 million range, $1.25 range. Let's talk about that one because I do think there is a long-term play there and an opportunity to improve what's already there and continue to move that project forward. All right. So what's left, guys? Well, we've got a property here. It's 20 units in Liberty, Missouri. I sold some stuff there. I've sold stuff in every single submarket of Kansas City. Liberty, Missouri, 20 units for $1.5 million. It's right in the downtown area of Liberty. It's an interesting little building. I say little. It's 20 units, $1.5 million. Just so you know. So Liberty's a Class A location, by the way. It's a submarket, great school district. A lot of people love living there. 1.5 million divided by 20 is $75,000 per door. It's a great price per unit. I'm not sure exactly the makeup of what these are. It's close to William Jewell College. There's only 5 off-street parking spots. It does have new roof and new windows. It's got laundry in place under a lease, under a Jets lease. It's got 20 studios. So that's always the rub with some of these is the studios. I'll talk just real briefly about studios. I like studio apartments because they're very easy to fill. They don't have a lot of complaints and requirements. You don't need to put granite countertops on every single one of these. The downside is they're always harder to sell. They take a little bit longer to sell than other 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. because you can't get all the rents that you need to or want to out of them. But they're relative, and they do have higher turnover, but they're good properties because you're not going to have big families in there that tear things up. So it should have relatively low maintenance costs other than your unit turnover, and renting to the right people, of course, can help prevent that. Okay. So guys, that's every single one of them. I covered all 13 new ones on market, how they'd fit in for your 1031 exchange. Love to hear from you if you got an exchange coming up. Maybe you want to just talk about how and what to do with an exchange. Maybe you got a house or a duplex. You want to upgrade. Maybe you want to take advantage of the market. It's a buyer's market out there right now. This is Alex. Email me, alex@legendaryapartmentbrokers.com, and we will talk soon.